In this video, we're going to be working on an HP. In this video, we're going to be working on a PH transmitter. Customer brought this in because he wants us to solder 5 wires onto the board. Customer attempted the repair or attempted to solder the wires, but he made a big mess on the motherboard. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. He attempted to solder the wires, and that's what happened. It does take practice to know how to solder properly, and it's always not as easy as it looks. We're going to start by cleaning the board. The customer did bring this paper, and he circled the pads that he wants the wires soldered onto. So we're going to follow this board picture here to know where to solder the wires. But before we do anything, let's start by cleaning the board. And of course, to properly clean this mess, we need to add flux. The mess that you see here probably happened because of not enough flux being used or because of cheap flux being used. So solder does not flow properly, and you see bridges all over the place. So we're gonna clean up all that solder that's on the board. Solder is attracted to heat, so when we put our soldering iron on the board, solder is going to stick to the soldering iron tip, and that's how we get rid of all that excess solder or the mess that we see on the board. Uh-oh, it looks like we have a missing pad here. Yes, we do. We have a missing pad. Great. Okay, this pad is weak also. Yeah, it's a pad. Okay. Okay, so the board is clean and we are able to see all the pads. Great. And the customer also brought us this cable, and he said not to cut the cable. He has a reason for this long cable, so we have to make sure that when we solder the cable, this roll is not gonna fall down and possibly snatch all the pads on the board. So we're gonna tape this end of the cable to that box, and then first we're gonna solder, and then what I'm gonna do is tape this cable so it doesn't let loose and break the pads off. Right now, customer wants us to solder a wire right over here. I do not know what this is. Oh, what's that? What was that? So that's the piece that fell off. It looks like a solder blob. Let me see. Yeah, look at that. It's a solder blob. Okay. So what I'm going to do is apply a solder blob on every pad the customer wants the wires soldered onto. We're gonna start with this one, and based on the picture, he wants a wire soldered on to that pad. I told the customer that all we are doing is soldering the wires. That's all we are doing. Whether this device works or not, our job is just to solder the wires, and that's what the customer wants. Right now, color coding is not a problem because the customer can tell where each wire is soldered onto, and then he can use those wires accordingly. We need to go further down, and he wants all 4 wires soldered onto here, 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 and here. Okay. And let the soldering begin. So how many pads we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wires. Okay, so this wire does not look good to begin with, but we're gonna make it look good. Very nice. We have 2 wires. We have a third one here. And let's get rid of excess solder. And like I said, solder is attracted to heat. So as soon as you touch solder with your soldering iron, solder is going to stick to the soldering iron, assuming you have flux, because flux helps with the flow of solder. We have a green one. Let's keep it for the other side. And we should have a black wire that we did not use yet. We need some flux. طيب خال مع السلامة. So we have this wire is solid. This one here may move because the pad itself is not solid, but the wire is solid. This one is solid, and this one here is solid. Now we have one more wire to solder, and we're gonna use this green wire and solder it right over here, like that. Now I'm gonna tape that whole cable because, like I said, we do not want the pads to rip off should that cable fall, because it's a heavy cable. So that's what I did. I just taped the cable from this end here, so we do not put any pressure on the pads. And now it's up to the customer to use this however he wants or however he likes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.